Children. Welcome to online classes of biology once again. So we have completed the chapter cell cycle, okay, and cell division. That chapter we have completed, and we have studied the various steps of mitosis and meiosis and the differences between them. So now the next chapter that we have to study is chapter 13, photosynthesis in higher plants. Okay, so the other chapters are omitted this year, and we need to study this chapter. Okay, so what do you mean by photosynthesis? Everyone knows that green plants, they are making their food, or they synthesize the food. Okay, and all other organisms are depending on them for the food, isn't it? So all the ecosystem, they runs on the basis of, or the basis of the energy or the food prepared by the plants, isn't it? All organisms are depending on the process called photosynthesis. Okay, and this is the reason why we call the plants as autotrophs, because they are making their own food. Then, photosynthesis is a physico-chemical process, isn't it? And in which the plants use light energy to drive the synthesis of organic compounds, isn't it? Using the light energy, the plants, what they convert, or they convert the light energy into what? Food, isn't it? The energy which is stored in the form of food. So this is actually happening in the what photosynthesis. And photosynthesis is a very very important process, because first is, it is the primary source of all food on earth. Okay, and then second reason why photosynthesis is important is the release of oxygen into the atmosphere, isn't it? The plants do release oxygen into the atmosphere during the photosynthesis process. So because of these two things, photosynthesis is very important. Understood? So we have studied little bit about photosynthesis in the last class, isn't it? In 10th class you have studied. So some experiments you have studied, isn't it? The necessity of chlorophyll, light and carbon dioxides, okay, in the photosynthesis process. So you have studied about the experiment to look for starch formation in two leaves, that is in a variegated leaf, okay, and then the presence of, or the need of light by using a black paper, okay. And then you have also used another experiment to prove that carbon dioxide is necessary by using KOH, isn't it? So in this way you have studied the experiment to prove that these components are very important for photosynthesis to take place. Means, for photosynthesis to take place, some of the raw materials are needed. What are they? They are carbon dioxide, light, and chlorophyll. And we have learned various experiments to prove the necessity of all these components in the photosynthesis process. So, the process of photosynthesis is understood by various experiments done by different scientists. All of a sudden, all the process of photosynthesis was not understood. It was done by different scientists in their different experiments. So, let's see what are the milestones in the discovery of photosynthesis. Okay, so in 1733 to, okay, in 1770, Joseph Priestley, okay, he has done some experiment, a series of experiments he has done, okay, and he found, okay, he only discovered oxygen in 1774. That is Priestley, Joseph Priestley. What he has discovered oxygen, and he did some of the experiment, and he observed that a candle burning in a closed space or a bell jar will soon get extinguished. Okay, so just if you are keeping a burning a candle, okay, and if you are keeping a mouse there, you can see that after some time the mouse will die and the candle will get extinguished. Okay, so what he understood is what burning candle or an animal that breathe the air somehow damages the air. It changes the quality of the air. And he could see that when he placed a mint plant in the same bell jar, okay, the mouse stayed alive and the candle continued to burn. So, what he understood is plants restored to the air whatever breathing animals and burning candles remove. Means whatever the what the candle used or whatever the mouse used from the air is restored by the plants. That's what the mouse could live long than what when there was no mint. Okay, mint plant in the bell jar. So next, okay, Jan Ingenhouse. Okay, he had showed that sunlight is essential to the plant process that somehow purifies the air. Means sunlight is also very important, and he has used some aquatic plants and showed that in bright sunlight small bubbles are also formed around the green parts. Okay, and these bubbles were later identified as oxygen. So he showed that the only green part of the plants can release oxygen. Okay, and it was not until about 1854 that Julius von Sachs provided the evidence for production of glucose when the plants grows. Okay, and glucose is generally stored as what starch, and he could also explain, or he could later showed that, okay, the green substances in plants that are known as what chlorophylls, they are located in special structures called the chloroplast within the cells. Okay, and he found that the green parts in plants that will be is where glucose is made, and that the glucose is usually stored as starch. So all this was his finding, Julius von Sachs. Okay, then Engelmann, T.W. Engelmann, he used a prism and he separated the light into different spectral components. Okay, then he eliminated the green bacteria Cladophora. Okay, then the bacteria were used to detect the sites of oxygen evolution. Okay, and this Cladophora was placed in a suspension of aerobic bacteria. And bacteria, what for he used? To detect the sites of oxygen evolution, where the oxygen is evolved, there only the aerobic bacteria can live. Okay, and he observed that the bacteria accumulated mainly in the region of blue and red light of the split spectrum. Okay, so he what used a prism and separated the what the light into different spectra, and then it was illuminated. This spectra of light was used to illuminate the green algae Cladophora. Okay, and then he could detect, okay, you means Cladophora he has used, and this was what placed in a suspension of aerobic bacteria. Okay, so this bacteria are used for what? Detecting oxygen evolution, because wherever oxygen is evolved, there only this bacteria can live. and he could see that the bacteria are getting accumulated in the region of blue and red light of the split spectrum. Okay, and in this way the first action spectrum of photosynthesis is described, and it roughly resembles the absorption spectra of chlorophyll A and B. Okay, and so these are the findings of what Engelmann. Okay, and then again the experiments continued, and around by the middle of the 19th century, the key features of plant photosynthesis were known to everyone. Okay, that is, the plants could use light energy to make carbohydrate from carbon dioxide and water. Understood? So, plants can make what? Food by using what? By the use of light energy. Okay, from what? Carbon dioxide and water. So, this process is called what? Photosynthesis. Is it clear? Then another experiment, a milestone contribution in the understanding of photosynthesis, was by Cornelius van Meel. Okay, so he has used purple and green bacteria, and he demonstrated that light photosynthesis is a light dependent reaction. Okay, and in which hydrogen from suitable oxidizable compound that reduces carbon dioxide to carbohydrate. That is, there should be some hydrogen, okay, from means hydrogen donor, okay, that can reduce carbon dioxide to carbohydrate. Carbon dioxide is reduced to carbohydrate by the help of a hydrogen donor. Okay, and he had used, okay, what purple and green bacteria to demonstrate this. And in green plants, water is the hydrogen donor, and that is getting oxidized to what? Oxygen, and carbon dioxide is reduced to carbohydrate. Okay, and if what instead of plants, if we when he used purple bacteria and green sulfur bacteria, okay, he could see that by the oxidation, okay, of this hydrogen, means sulfur containing products. Okay, he could see that sulfur was the product, okay, and not the oxygen. So what he inferred is oxygen evolved during photosynthesis is coming from water and not from carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is getting reduced to carbohydrate, and the oxygen released during photosynthesis comes from what? The water, because water is getting oxidized to oxygen, and it what reduces the carbon dioxide to carbohydrate. Okay, and this he could also prove by radioisotope technique. Okay, later it was proved by radioactive methods. Okay, so during the photosynthesis process, the oxygen released is from water and not from the carbon dioxide. Okay, so these are some of the experiments, milestone experiments. Okay, that is Joseph Priestley. He had explained that the plants are having the capacity to purify the air. Understood? So a burning candle or an animal that breathe the air, they damage the air, but the plants are having what? The capacity to restore the means air. Okay, quality of the air. Then what? What by another scientist known as Jan Ingenhouse. Okay, he had showed that sunlight is necessary, okay, essential to the plant process that somehow purifies the air fouled by burning candles or breathing animals. Means light is necessary for this process. And he used what? Aquatic plants, and he could see that small bubbles are formed, okay, around the green parts, and these bubbles were later identified as oxygen. So he showed that the green part of the plants that could only release oxygen, and this process need what? The sunlight. Okay. And Julius Burnsacks provided evidence for the production of glucose. Okay. And this glucose produced during photosynthesis is stored as starch. And he had shown that the green substances in plants, that is chlorophyll, they are located in chloroplast. Okay. And the glucose made by the what green part of the plants will be stored as what? Starch. Okay. Then another scientist, T.W. Engelmann, he used what? Prism to split the light into various spectra. Okay. And he eliminated a green algae called cladophora, and these were placed in a suspension of aerobic bacteria. So aerobic bacteria, why it was used? To detect the sight of oxygen. Okay. Evolution. And he could see that bacteria accumulated mainly in the region of blue and red light. Okay, means more photosynthesis takes place there in the blue and red light of spectrum. Okay. And then what around in the middle of 19th century, it was what understood that plants could use light energy to make carbohydrates from carbon dioxide and water. Okay, means most of the things were understood, and the empirical equation also was made. Okay. Then another scientist known as Cornelius van Niel, he used what? Purple and green bacteria to demonstrate that photosynthesis is a light dependent reaction, and in that a hydrogen from a source like water or H2S, whatever it is, this hydrogen is responsible for reducing carbon dioxide to carbohydrate. Okay, and in green plants, the hydrogen source is water. Okay, and in some other organisms like purple and green sulfur bacteria, okay, they are the source of hydrogen is H2S. Okay, so he inferred that oxygen evolved during photosynthesis comes from water and not from the carbon dioxide. Okay, so these were some of the milestones, and there are many other experiments also that that explained the process of photosynthesis more clearly. Understood? Now, where photosynthesis takes place, the organelles called chloroplast. Okay, so mesophyll cells, do you remember what are mesophyll cells? They are cells of the leaves. They are having large number of chloroplast, and in that only what happens? The photosynthesis takes place. Okay. And do you remember the structure of a chloroplast? You can see that it is having two different membranes, outer and inner membrane. Okay, and you can see a matrix known as stroma. Okay, so the matrix of chloroplast is known as stroma, and in that you can see many what membranous structures called, each are called thylakoids. They are arranged one above the other, and they form the grana. Understood? Grana is formed, and grana are two different grana. They are connected by stroma lamella. Okay, and in the matrix you can see ribosomes, DNA, isn't it? And other substances. Understood? So you can see that light reaction and dark reactions are involved in photosynthesis. The light reaction of photosynthesis takes place in the grana, and the dark reaction takes place in the stroma. Is it clear? So in this is the structure of a chloroplast. Understood? So the membranes, okay, the membrane system that is responsible for trapping the light energy, and also for the synthesis of ATP and NADPH. Okay, so we are going to study that in detail. That is, in light reaction, what is happening is light will be trapped by the pigments present in the membranes of thylakoids. Okay, thylakoids are membranous structures. So they are having what? Pigments. And these pigments, they absorb the sunlight. Okay, and they use the sunlight, the energy from the sunlight to make ATP and NADPH. Okay, and in the stroma, that is in the matrix of the chloroplast, this ATP and NADPH are used to what? Reduce carbon dioxide to carbohydrate. Okay, so like this, what dark reaction is taking place in the stroma of the chloroplast, and light reaction in the what in the grana. Okay, so both are dependent on light, but what no, dark reaction is not directly dependent on light, but it is depending on the products of light reaction. Okay, so we are going to study that in detail. So the organelle that is associated with photosynthesis is what? The chloroplast. So hope this much is very clear to you. Just go through this portions. We will start studying the various steps of photosynthesis and the pigments involved in this all. Okay, so the experiments that led to understanding the photosynthesis in a much better way we have learned. So go through all that. Thank you, children.